I am Professor C.P. Mishra, working in the Department of Community Medicine, Institute of Medical Sciences, Banaras Hindu University, and I shall be discussing the module Air Pollution, which belongs to the paper Environmental Health. This module has been developed by a team comprising of myself as Principal Investigator, Dr. Professor V.M. Gupta, ex-professor and head, Department of Community Medicine, Institute of Medical Sciences, Banaras Hindu University, has served as paper coordinator, and the module is written by Dr. Amit Kaushik, who belongs to the Department of Community Medicine, Uttar Pradesh Rural Institute of Medical Sciences, SAFAI, UP, which is now a university. And the content has reviewed by Dr. V.M. Gupta of Department of Community Medicine, IMS BHU, Varanasi. The learning objectives that have been set for this module are: number one should be able to describe different types of air pollution. Number two, one should enlist different air pollutants. Number three, understand different sources of air pollution. And number four, enumerate health effects of air pollution and describe health impacts of household air pollution. Understand air quality monitoring and its implications in India. As we all know, clean air has always been one of the basic requirements for human health and well-being. And if you look at the statistics related to air pollution continues to pose a significant threat to the health of humans all over the world. Air pollution, along with other aspects of social and physical environment, contributes to increase in the disease burden in less affluent parts of the society, especially emissions from motor vehicles, industrial facilities along with household combustion devices, forest fires are the common sources of air pollution. Pollutants of public health importance are particulate matter, carbon monoxide, ozone, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide. Both the outdoor and indoor air pollution may cause respiratory and other diseases which can prove fatal to human beings. Simple interventions like improvement in kitchen stoves, heating appliances may reduce exposure to the pollution, can produce significant health gain at minimum cost. The point is that both external and internal, within the house, air pollution can be modified to a considerable extent by modifying human habits and by changing the cooking media, cooking fuels. Then there can be several types of air pollution, and basically two types are we consider. One is ambient, that is outdoor air pollution, and household air pollution. Outdoor air pollution and household air pollution both has significant health impacts, and in both the cases the commonest system that is involved is the respiratory system. Ambient outdoor air pollution, major environmental health problem which affects each and every individual in both developed and as well as developing countries. Air pollution was estimated to cause around 3.7 million premature deaths worldwide. This is the statistics by the World Health Organization 2012. Main reason for this mortality was exposure to small particulate matter of 10 microns or less in diameter, that is PM10. Approximately 88% of these premature mortality occurred in low and middle income countries. The reasons can be several, because even the pollutants level may be high, and population density in certain areas is so high, and if there is a high level of air pollution, that may cause serious damage in terms of premature mortality. So low and middle income countries are major victims of this. Causes of premature deaths are ischemic heart disease and stroke. Ischemic heart disease and stroke, because of air-related problems, constitute about 80% of the total. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and acute lower respiratory tract infections account for 14%, and lung cancer accounts for 6%. The point is that these diseases are on rise, and there exists a significant correlation between the rise of these diseases as well as air pollution. We can do correlation population-based studies, ecological studies have amply highlighted that as the air pollution is increasing, these diseases are also rising. There may be other factors as well, but one of the significant factors is air pollution, which can be easily controlled. Household air pollution. Within the household, the common cooking fuels that are being used in the past was wood, cow dung, and these produce certain substances which affects our respiratory system. Approximately 3 billion people still use solid fuels like wood, crop waste, charcoal, coal, and dung for cooking, open fires, and leaky stoves. These all cause indoor air pollution up to a considerable extent. And those who are directly involved in the cooking process are those who are staying in those rooms, because as you know that housing problems are there, overcrowding is there in our country in many places. That may lead to that may expose people who are living in that particular household to the certain diseases which are intimately related to household air pollution. Incomplete combustion results in generation of a range of health-damaging pollutants, including small soot particles that are capable of penetrating deep into the lungs. Women and young children especially are at greater risk because women are involved in the cooking process and small children are generally with the mother. Around 4.3 million people a year die prematurely from illness that can be attributed to household air pollution. Again, this is a statistic from WHO 2012. Deaths are due to 12% are due to pneumonia, 34% from stroke, 26% from ischemic heart disease, 22% from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So, indoor air pollution is an important cause of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which is a rise in our country, and 6% from lung cancer. Air pollutants can be several. Air pollutants basically either by emitted into the atmosphere or from within, or they can be classified on the basis of their physical state. Either be emitted from the atmosphere or from within, that can be primary air pollutants or secondary air pollutants. And on the basis of their physical structure, it could be gaseous air pollutants or particulate air pollutants. So, pollutants can be classified in two ways. One, according to their emission on the basis of their physical state. On the basis of emission, there may be primary air pollutants or they could be secondary air pollutants. On the basis of physical state, gaseous air pollutants or particulate air pollutants. Primary air pollutants emitted into the atmosphere from a source such as chimney or the factory or through suspension of contaminated dust by the wind. It is impossible to measure the amounts emitted at the source itself. Some examples are sulfur dioxide, oxides of nitrogen, carbon monoxide, volatile organic compounds, and carbonaceous and non-carbonaceous primary particles. Each of these substances liberated from in the atmosphere have significant impact on the health of the human being, not only human being, even plant kingdoms and other animals as well, and also responsible for various other activities in terms of global warming, in terms of acid precipitation and so on. Secondary air pollutants, they are formed within the atmosphere. They arise as a result of chemical reactions among primary air pollutants. Possibly these reactions involve the natural components of the atmosphere also, especially oxygen and water. Examples are ozone, oxides of nitrogen, and secondary particulate matter. Gaseous air pollutants could be present in the environment in the form of gases or vapors, as the name signifies. Gaseous air pollutants are readily taken into the human respiratory system. Water-soluble pollutants are deposited in the upper respiratory tract and do not penetrate to the lower respiratory tract. Particulate air pollutants, those materials that remain suspended in the atmosphere and can be either in the state of solid or liquid. Suspended particles, depending on their particulate size, they can exert different influences. Such particles may be either primary or secondary air pollutants and may cover a wide range of size. Newly formed secondary particles may be as small as 1 to 2 nanomicrometer in diameter, while the other coarse particles of the sea salt particularly may be as large as 100 micron in diameter. So there will be quite a large variation exists in the size of the particulate matter, and if the size is small, the possibility of they being inhaled by the human being will be more, and there will be chances of more contamination and more air involvement of lungs, respiratory systems as well. Sources of air pollution, those materials that remain suspended in the atmosphere can be in a particulate form, and particulate form is the important form of pollution. Sources of air pollution can be from various types. Automobile exhausts are rich in lead and other compounds like sulfur dioxide and so on. Industrial waste, domestic sources like use of solid fuels like wood, crop waste, charcoal, coal, and dung for cooking. Other like smoking, pesticide spraying, wind-borne dusts, and so on. Concept of spiral scales can be taken into account. In the discussion of sources, geographical location and distribution of source is of great importance. Many times we see that whatever pollutants are coming, they can be neutralized, but in many cases the geographical location plays a very important role, and air pollution occurs on large scale on a range of spatial scales which are linked to the atmospheric lifetime of the specific pollutants. It could be on local scale, it could be on an urban scale, regional scale, hemispheric and global scales. Local scale, encountered in appreciable concentration close to the source of emission with very short atmospheric lifetime. When there is a pollution at the local level, then its effect may be very short and its lifetime is also very less. Examples are hydrogen fluoride, 1,3-butadiene, esoteric chemicals, emission from burning of biomass fuels in less developed countries. There may be urban scale. Pollutants from urban sources are found at high concentration throughout the city, but at very low concentration in adjacent rural areas. So in urban areas, the pollution level may be very high, but between rural areas, because of various dilution factors, number of trees, dispersion of the population, this could be less. Examples include nitrogen oxide and carbon monoxide generated by road traffic. Atmospheric lifetimes of such air pollutants are not long, typically hours, as a result of which their concentration in the remote background atmosphere tends to be very low, except in case of carbon monoxide, which remains persistent. Regional scale, some fine particles with diameter less than 2.5 micron and some of the gas phase pollutants have longer atmospheric lifetime of days or even weeks. Examples are ozone, sulfate particles, fine aerosols, particles of black carbon from burning of fossil fuel, hemispheric and global scales. Some pollutants, especially those which are associated with greenhouse warming effects, have atmospheric lifetime of years and are therefore capable of hemispheric distribution, ultimately can be distributed globally. Examples are carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, methane. कितने मिनट हुए देखो बताओ। हाँ 10 है। This is right. 33. ठीक है स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं ठीक है सो जस्ट नाउ वी हैव डिस्कस्ड दैट what are the factors that contribute to air pollution, what are different types of air pollution, and what are different processes that are causing air pollution. One thing is very clear from the discussion that most of the air pollutions can be reduced to a considerable level by modifying human activity. Particularly indoor air pollution can be taken care by substituting the type of fuels that are being used. After discussing so much, now we'll be switching about to examine what are the health effects of air pollution. The health effects of air pollution could be classified into two types. One is effect attributed to long-term exposures, and the second is effect attributed to short-term exposure. So, by going through this classification, one thing is very apparent, that it is the duration of exposure and it is the quantity of exposure, it means the dose of exposure, that is directly related to the health effects of the air pollution. Effect attributed to short-term exposure, short-term exposure may be responsible for increase in mortality. Respiratory and cardiovascular hospital admissions may be more. So daily mortality attributable to the total mortality that is attributed to air pollution may increase. So proportional mortality rate because of air pollutants may increase. The second thing is respiratory and cardiovascular hospital admissions may go up. That is the second short-term exposure effect. Third, respiratory and cardiovascular emergency departments visits may increase. Fourth, respiratory and cardiovascular primary care visits may also increase because people may be having more respiratory problems, and use of respiratory and cardiovascular medications may also rise. So a number of short-term exposure itself is responsible for affecting the physical health of the individuals and also affecting their quality of life, and this can be seen by not only this may have an economic effect as well, because many people are going visiting to hospitals or emergency departments or primary care units, and thereby there is loss of man-hour days in terms of economic gain, and further they are also spending money on the treatment and other aspects. It is also unnecessarily putting a lot of load on the health system, and health system, particularly most of the respiratory diseases, if they become chronic in nature, then it is not only the one patient, the patient's duration of life, duration of treatment becomes more, and this puts a lot of heavy work on the health system. Days of restricted activity, this is very important because of Ill health, people are restricted to their activity is reduced, not activity reduced in terms of social life, in terms of physical activities, in terms of other work, mandates lost in terms of work. Work absenteeism, school absenteeism in children particularly very common because of respiratory infections. Work absenteeism because of chronic cough. It is often seen in acute symptoms like wheezing, coughing, phlegm production, respiratory infections, and so on. And because of acute symptoms, many people, they are not going to their workplace and they don't feel comfortable there, and it has a tremendous effect on their nutritional status as well, because when these coughing, wheezing goes on, their food consumption also decreases. Physiological changes, that is lung function declines and people don't feel comfortable. So a number of effects we have seen on just because of short-term exposure. Effects attributed to long-term exposure are mortality due to cardiovascular and respiratory diseases goes up. The earlier statistics have shown that premature mortality rates goes up. Chronic respiratory diseases incidence and prevalence of asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, chronic pathological changes in lung that is being seen. We all agree that because of high indoor air, that is domestic pollution, air pollution at household level, cases of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease are rise. They are being carpulmonal. It is not only causing premature mortality, but it also affects the physical activity of the people, the quality of life they are leading. And third is chronic changes in physiological functions. If the physiological functions is altered, particularly in the advanced stage, the people's attitude towards life also changes. Many people think that what's the great point in pulling on the life in that way. And certainly, as a health planners, we would like to have the people in the advanced stage should be free from these problems. Particularly, they are physically healthy, and physically healthy can be ensured only if they get air which is not polluted. Lung cancer is also on rise, and one of the factors that contribute to this phenomena is air pollution in a direct or indirect way. Chronic cardiovascular diseases, which is rising in our country, though it is a multifactorial etiology, but there are many processes. Let's say, for example, if a person whose physiological functions is altered, whose physical activity is reduced because of asthma or any other pathological change, his physical activity will reduce. And if he continues the same quantity of diet, probably will be sooner or later there may be other problems in him. Intrauterine growth restriction, low birth weight at term, intrauterine growth retardation, small for gestational age. Studies have demonstrated that even smoking, if you compare the birth weight of babies born to smoking mothers, exposed to smoking either actively or passively, the birth weight of those women, birth weight of the children born to the mothers who are smokers will be less, about 250 grams in comparison to the group who are not smoking. So this has a very, this is in case of smoking only, but many pollutants that are born within the house just because of burning of coal, burning of firewood, burning of cow dung, that may cause the same or even the more adverse effect. Pyramid of health effects that we see, we are going to discuss. You see, at the top, what we are noticing is premature mortality, as I have discussed. More number of hospital admissions, emergency department visits to doctor, So this is in this triangle, from the top, the premature mortality will be less. But as we go down, the proportion of population affected also increase. So hospital admission increases. Even more than that, this number will be emergency department visits, visit to the doctor, restricted activity, reduced performance, medication use, symptoms, physiological change in the cardiovascular system, impaired pulmonary functions, subclinical, subtle effects. So this pyramid signifies that whatever you have discussed just now in a summative way affects that the population, proportion of population affected subclinically are much more than what we see in the tip of the iceberg in terms of premature mortality or hospital admissions that are caused by air pollution. Health impacts of household air pollution. The greatest problem is one is pneumonia. Risk of childhood pneumonia is doubled by exposure to household air pollution. More than 50% under 5 death from air. Acute respiratory tract infection results mainly from inhalation of particulate matter emitted from burning of household solid fuels. Stroke in 25% premature death due to stroke can be attributed to this. Ischemic heart disease 15% rise due to air pollution. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease more than 30%, and this is a very significant problem in rural areas where still LPGs are not being used by all the households, and people resort to unhealthy methods of cooking by using either firewood or charcoal or many times cow dung, and these chronic pulmonary obstructive pulmonary disease hampers their quality of life considerably, and as the duration is prolonged, as the dose is prolonged, then chances of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and equally goes up. Emphysema cases become more. Lung cancers 17%. For other outdoor pollution leads to 6% contribution. Other health impacts and risks are low birth weight, tuberculosis, cataract, nasopharyngeal and laryngeal cancers. Air quality monitoring therefore becomes very important. If you want to check the adverse effects of air pollution, first of all you have to monitor that is what is the extent of air pollution in a particular city, particular area. And if it exceeds that limit, then we must also examine quickly that what are the processes that are contributing and what are the processes that can be modified with some resource, the processes which are causing more impact, they should be taken care of. Air quality monitoring in India, the air quality monitoring in India, it goes without saying that air pollution is on rise, but we have to have a scientific database. We have to have, in order to see the impact of various interventions or even in the natural course of time, what is happening, then we have to have background data. We have to have the status of the trained evaluation, environment exposure level determination, scavenging behavior of environment, and air quality management. National ambient air quality standards have been laid down. This is a prerequisite for developing program for effective management of ambient air quality and to reduce the damaging effect of air pollution. So ambient air quality standards has been laid down, and that signifies that whether the standards are being maintained or not. Objective air quality standards are to assist in the establishing priorities for abatement and control of pollution level. So one is that if there is no standard, nobody is going to follow the abatement and control of pollutants. To provide uniform yardstick for assessing air quality at national level and to indicate the need and extent of monitoring program. So in any program, it goes without saying that people must know that where we stand in terms of the program, or if we talk in terms of this air pollution reduction program, so what is the extent of air pollution? That should be monitored. And we must know that what is ideal, where we have to reach. And then two other important questions that need to be addressed is what are the processes that are contributing this, which process can be replaced, which process can be modified to reach the desired level. National Air Monitoring Program, popularly known as the NAMP, in the year 1984, Central Pollution Control Board initiated National Ambient Air Quality Monitoring Program with 7 stations at Agra and Anpara. Subsequently renamed as National Air Monitoring Program, 4 air pollutants have been identified for regular monitoring at all these levels. These are sulfur dioxide, oxides of nitrogen as NO2, respirable suspended particulate matter, RSPM, having particulate matter having size less than 10 micron, and suspended particulate matter, SPM. So these 4 parameters are being regularly monitored: SPM, respirable suspended particulate matter, and nitrogen oxide and sulfur dioxide. Additional parameters such as respirable lead and other toxic trace element metals, hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons are also being monitored. So, but those 4 things which I have said, SO2, NO2, RSPM, PM10, suspended particulate matter, additional parameters such as respirable lead and other toxic trace elements, hydrogen peroxide, ammonia, it can, depending on the situation, one can add more. Objectives of the program are periodic evaluation of air pollution situation in urban areas of the country, determine status and trend in ambient air quality and effects of air pollution in the urban environment, and estimate the future worsening or improvement of air quality, and to obtain the knowledge and understanding necessary for developing preventive and corrective measures. Though this activity is confined to urban areas only, but there are certain urban rural area pockets where this problem is going on, particularly where the big cleaning works are going on and so on. Understand the natural cleansing process undergoing in the environment through pollution, dilution, dispersion, wind-based movement, chemical transformation of pollutants generated, and so on. Ascertain whether the prescribed ambient air quality standards are violated or not. If it is violated, then regulatory mechanisms can be taken. So there can be legislations, there can be service provisions, and there can be educational approaches so that we can maintain the air quality and air pollution is avoided to the assess health hazard, damage to the materials, and to control and regulate pollution from various sources. Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981 this act was enacted in 1981 to arrest the deterioration in air quality by central government. This act was initiated by central government. The act is implemented by Central Pollution Control Board at the apex level and State Pollution Control Board at the state level. So, just to summarize once again, that air pollution is emerging a potential threat in our public health, and both outdoor and indoor pollution are intimately related with the activities and practices that are being adopted by human beings. In the outdoor pollution, vehicles are playing a very significant role, vehicle exhaust, and in the indoor air pollution, there is many cooking practices. When the housing standards are poorer, there is no cross ventilation. That may be also responsible for this. So many activities are going on. A number of measures have been taken by the Government of India in terms of legislation. But what is important that people need to be educated that what are the processes that are contributing to air pollution, what are its impact, so that they can take necessary corrective measures and so that the level of air pollution and its effect on health can be minimized. Thank you very much for visiting EPG Passau.